And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Welcome to Benchley Night. I am slightly late. It's 7:46. I'm supposed to be on at 7:45, but I arrived here at 7:45, and StreamYard said, "You're out of storage space, Charles." So I had to go and delete some old videos. You know how they are. You know how they are. You have to do what they say to do, otherwise they get you. Hi, we've got 2 people watching. That's excellent. Hi, everyone out there in internet land. Oh, what a week! What a week it has been! What a week it has been! I spent most of the day doing the next 2 months of my late sister Elizabeth's bandana journals. Now, I don't know how many of you are subscribers to the Bandana Journal. I think probably a bunch of you are. I think the Venn diagram of people who tune in to Benchley Night and are subscribers to the Bandana Journal probably are pretty close. But if you're not, my late sister kept a journal for most of her adult life. And she was a wonderful, wonderful writer. This was not a journal for publication. It was just her daily, or not daily, but generally at least a dozen times a month, she'd sit down between like 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. and just kind of stream of consciousness. The next 2 months, if you like gardening, if you like praying mantises, if you like spiders, if you like learning about those things, the next 2 months are going to be very much up your alley. But if you'd like to subscribe, I think you just go to Substack and then, Google or search for Bandana Journal. She was a wonderful writer, and I miss her. Not every day, but I miss her most days. I miss her when I think of her. She was down in North Carolina. I'm up in Vermont. Her journal is 28 years to the day from when she wrote it. So we are in 1995. We're in late June 1995 in the Bandana Journal, ladies and gentlemen. But here in real life, it's Sunday night. It is time for some Benchley. And it's time, I got to tell you, Facebook, they tell you what you can do these fundraisers, right? And all the proceeds go to your charity of choice, and I'm very grateful for that. Last week, we raised money for Earl the pig, and Earl the pig's other family of animals that the Ross family takes care of. And hi, Charbonneau. And at that time, I thought we had raised about $440, I think. It now says we've raised $495, but when I go to the list, I can't make heads or tails out of whether it is, whether it is people who donated to this week or last week, or if it's appearing twice. So I'm going to read some names, and either you donated last week, or you donated this week, or you haven't donated, but your name is getting read anyway. And the unidentified unglet McCann would like to thank you. Charbonneau is disappointed that he cannot go outside. He is sad that the door to outside has been closed this early in the evening. But we have Mr. Skunk, and Charbo had a bad interaction with Mr. Skunk earlier this year. And we have Mrs. Fox, who is trying to feed her kits. And even though Charbo is a big and muscular guy, I err on the side of, he likes getting high with his friend Breeze next door. And if he comes home at 2 a.m. with a buzz on, he's not really going to be looking to see if Ms. Fox is out there looking for a late night cat dinner. So tough luck, Charbo. Anyway, we would like to thank this following very long list. We did raise $200 for the donkey sanctuary, so that's nice. And we raised a lot of money for Earl the pig. And when I get the check from from Network for Good, I will know if I need to give Earl some additional money or some additional pasta. All right. We would like to thank our good friend, Mr. Rick Gavatsky. We would like to thank our good friend, Nora Lee Hall. We would like to thank our excellent friend, Karen Faisler. Out there in Taos, New Mexico, Ms. Meg Miser. Former music business friend who actually has roots in Bellows Falls, the great Elizabeth Rush. My partner in Roots on the Rails, just back from Istanbul, Ms. Sarah Ovenden. Melissa Berger. Adam Atkinson. Inveterate train rider, Mr. Jim Frisk. Then we turn the page for some more people who have donated either this week or last week, or maybe not at all. Maybe it's a hiccup of the system, but I think they did. I think they did donate, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Terry Hudson, Ms. Catherine Fisher, Ms. Sherry Michelson, Ms. Deb Kuming, Ms. Sarah Ovenden, Mr. John Wilhelm, Mr. Jim Frisk once again. And out there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, out there where the corn grows as high as an elephant's eye, and the elephants grow very, very, very large indeed, but towering above them all is my very, very, very tall cousin, Mr. Nat Hunter, his wonderful wife, Elise, and their wee little dog, Ginger. Thank you all so much. Yes, it is a large, indifferent world, and awful things happen all the time, but each week we raise a couple of $100 for something good. Oregon Donkey Sanctuary, ladies and gentlemen. Oregon Donkey Sanctuary. Donkeys who never did a lick of harm to anybody. Getting abused, getting neglected. Oregon Donkey Sanctuary takes care of them. And we help out the Oregon Donkey Sanctuary. Tonight's reading is by Robert Benchley, and it is called Johnny on the Spot. If you want to get a good perspective, a good perspective on history in the making, just skim through a collection of news photographs which have been snapped at the very moment when cataclysmic events were taking place throughout the world. In almost every picture, you can discover one guy in a derby hat who is looking in almost every picture you can discover one guy in a derby hat who is looking in exactly the opposite direction from the excitement, totally oblivious to the fact that the world is shaking beneath his feet. That would be me, or at any rate, my agent in that particular part of the world in which the event is taking place. I have not seen the actual photograph of the shooting of the Austrian Archduke at Sarajevo, but I'd be willing to bet, if one is in existence, that you could find somewhere off in the right foreground a man in a Serbian derby looking anxiously up the street for the next trolley car. And probably right up in the foreground would be a youth smiling and waving into the camera. Revolutionary disturbances seem to be particularly the subject of this blasé treatment on the part of bystanders. Photographs which have come up from Cuba lately, and even those of the wildest days in Russia during the Reign of Terror, photographs taken at the risk of the lives of the photographers themselves, all show somewhere in their composition an area of complete calm in which at least one man is looking at his watch or picking his teeth. In one which I have before me now from Havana, we see crowds of people fleeing before machine gun bullets, soldiers dashing hither and yon with uplifted sabers, puffs of smoke stippling the background, and down in the corner, by a news kiosk, a man in his shirt sleeves looking up at a clock. At any rate, there'll be one guy who knows what time the trouble started, provided he knew that it had started. Are those men in derby hats really men of iron who take revolutions and assassinations in their stride, all as part of a day's work? Or are they hard of hearing? Or are they nearsighted? Or possibly are they just men who go through life missing things? I like to think of them in that third category, for I know that if I were on the spot during any important historical event, I would not know about it until I read the papers the next day. I am unobservant to the point of being what scientists might call half-witted. It isn't that I don't see things, but that I don't register them. That is what makes it so difficult for me in traffic. I could have worked in a shop in the Place de la Bastille, or have sold papers across from the old State House in Boston, or have been an usher in Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C., and yet would probably have noticed nothing of the events for which those spots are famous. I possibly might have been aware of a slight commotion, and if I had worked in Ford's Theater, wondered why the curtain was rung down so early. But on going home, I would have been pretty sure to report a routine evening to the family. They didn't finish our American Cousin tonight, I might have said. Some trouble with the lights, I guess. All this makes for a calm, well-ordered existence with practically no nerve strain. Those men in derbies and I, provided we do not get hit by stray bullets, ought to live to a ripe old age if we take care of our kidneys at all. Dynasties may fall, cities may collapse, and the world be brought down around our ears, but unless something hits us squarely in the back, we really are sitting pretty. I do rather dread the day, however, when I look at a photograph of the focal point of the world revolution and see myself smirking into the camera with my back to the fighting. And the worst of it will be that I shall probably be wearing a derby. And here's the picture. Here's the picture by Glyas Williams, this wonderful image of Robert Benchley smirking into the camera, wearing a derby as the world crashes about him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, such a joy to be with you here tonight. We'll be back next week with another reading from the great Robert Benchley. And until then, spread some liberal do-gooding, snow-plowing good wherever you go. Take good care, everyone. Bye-bye.